Hi everyone, today we are going to discuss the price effect. Under price effect, we are also going to see the income effect and the substitution effect. So I am writing here that is our discussion topic is price effect, which comprises of two things, that is the income effect and the substitution effect. Now friends, let's first understand what is this price effect all about. Price effect means we know that our demand depends upon the price. We know the law of demand says that as price increases, our demand will fall, and vice versa. That is, if price falls, our demand will increase. But it has got its decomposition, or in other words, this phenomenon can be split into two different effects. One is the income effect, another is the substitution effect. Many a time students find it difficult to understand what is this income effect and what is this substitution effect and what is this price effect all about. We are going to understand it in the simplest manner. Let's begin. Friends, let us assume that a consumer buys two products. One is product X and the other one is product Y. Okay. Now friends, let's suppose that I buy this much quantity of product X and this much quantity of product Y. Okay, and this is my budget line. Let's do it this way, that this is my budget line. That means with this budget I can afford to buy this much and this much, and this is the indifference curve. I see indifference curve. I know that you will find it quite amazing. What is this IC or indifference curve? I would recommend you to go through one of my previous videos. The link will be there in the description box to know what is indifference curve. But even then, for your understanding and comfort, let me explain what is this indifference curve. Indifference curve will tell you that you are buying two commodities X and Y, or you are consuming two commodities X and Y, and in any point in this curve will give you the same satisfaction. That means you choose any combination of X and Y, you will get the same amount of satisfaction. But I will be choosing the point E because E is in my budget, because it is touching my budget line. Any other points, of course, will give me the same level of satisfaction, but is not within my reach or is not within my budget. So point E1 is my equilibrium. Okay, so I repeat again, I am buying two products X and Y. Whenever I buy something, I have to see how much is my budget. So in economics, we develop or we draw a budget line. So this is our budget line. Say this, the budget line is B. Okay, suppose this is our budget line B1, and this B1 budget line will tell me how much I can buy a product Y and how much maximum I can buy product X. Okay, and this point E indicates that at present I am buying Y1 one amount of Y and X1 one amount of X. Okay. We are discussing the price effect. Now suppose the price of X drops, means there is a fall in the price of X. Now interestingly, when the price of X has reduced, but the price of Y has not reduced, then what happens? My affordability, means how much I can spend on X, has increased, but my affordability, how much I can spend on Y, is unaltered. So that's why your budget line will rotate this side. I'm sorry because I'm making a rough kind of diagram here, so the line may not be so straight. So I can make an attempt to make it straighter, look straighter. So this probably is my budget line. So it is rotating to the right, B1, B2. Okay. So why it is not changing from this point? Why I have not lifted it upside? Because the price of Y has not changed. The price of X has changed. Therefore, earlier maximum I could have bought this much amount of X, but now I can buy more amount of X, that is till B2 point I can buy. Okay. Now what will happen, I will move to a new indifference curve. Okay, I will move to a new, okay, but before that, so when I move from this point, I mean when I was buying X1, now what will happen, I will buy more of X, and maybe I will be buying say X2 quantity of good X. Okay, so I move to a new indifference curve. That was IC1, so this is IC2. Okay, this is IC1. Let me rename it here. The previous one was IC1, and now the new one is IC2, and I get a new equilibrium point, that is X2. Fine, but I'm not changing my consumption of a Y1. My consumption of Y1 is the same. Keeping Y1 constant, I'm moving to a new point of equilibrium, E2, because this is possible, and because the price of X has decreased, and as a result my consumption is increasing from OX1 to OX2, but OY remains the same. So remember friends, when you draw this indifference curve, make sure that this is just touching this way. Okay friends, so what is happening here? I can understand that because of drop in price of X, the consumption of X or demand for X has increased from OX1 to OX2, but for Y it has remained unaffected, that is OY1. Fine. Now friends, increase in the quantity demanded from OX1 to OX2 is equals to how much? Only this much. OX2 minus OX1. Okay, so if I minus OX2 and OX1, this portion is your price effect. That means due to the fall in price of the commodity X, our demand for commodity X has increased from OX1 to OX2, leading to a net increase of X1, X2. So what is our price effect? X1, X2. Okay, the distance between these 2 points is the price effect. Understanding price effect is very simple, but now we have to understand the substitution effect. For this you have to pay a little attention. So a little attention here. As we have seen that what is price effect? The price effect happens because a consumer finds that commodities X has reduced, and that's why he is going to make more demand for that commodity X. Okay, so we have X this side, we have Y this side. Now try to understand one thing, that there is a concept called money income and there is a concept called real income. Okay. Real income, actually, we will consider real income here. Real income means one's purchasing power. How much I can purchase with the money that I have in my hand. Now you can see one thing, I mean real income means my purchasing power of goods and services. Now here you can see that as the price of commodity X has dropped, now the consumer's real income increases. Let me explain you how. Suppose I have rupees 100 and this 100 I am splitting between X and Y. I buy 30 of X and 20, say I buy 60 rupees X and 40 rupees Y. Now, or make it different, make it 40 here and make it 60 here. Now what happens, as the consumers, the price, suppose the price of this commodity has decreased. If the price of commodity X has decreased, then what happens, that I can get the same commodity at rupees 20, say for example I have to spend just 20, so I am left with some extra income in my hand. Okay, there is an increase in my income in my hand, because with 100 rupees previously I was spending 40 in X and 60 in Y, but now since that 100 rupees is still there but the price has dropped, so I get same X at rupees 20 and Y as at rupees 60, so total is 80, so I have surplus 20, so my real income has increased. Okay, so because of the rise in the real income, maybe I am going to buy more of commodity X. But now friends, we are trying to study, we understood price effect, but price effect has got two components, income effect and substitution effect. So we will consider Hicks substitution effect, or we call it Hicksian substitution effect. Now how it works? It works with the logic that we will make the real income constant, that is, it is not changing. Okay, we will make the real income constant, rather we will reduce the money income, but we will keep the real income constant. As a result, what happens, there is a little technicalities, but try to understand. As a result, what happens, the consumers, since the real income is no longer, I mean there is an increase in real income, that's why it has moved this side, this budget line has moved this side, but since we want to keep the real income constant, so we will draw another budget line, and that budget line will be parallel to this budget line B1, B2. Okay, and such that it touches our original indifference curve IC1. So I will draw a budget line this way. Okay, so when I draw this budget line this way, then what is happening, you know, I am touching my original indifference curve at this point. Okay, I am touching it at this point. Now let's see what is the quantity demanded corresponding to this point. This is X, suppose I call it X3. Okay, so X1, X2, X3, just naming this. Now what is happening? Now it is E3. So because of a fall in my real income, the equilibrium point has shifted from here to here. Just see, it has shifted from here to here. As a result, my commodity demanded has also fallen from OX2 to OX3. Right? So this is because of what? This is because of the fall in income, because of my income, the real income, keeping the real income constant. I have prepared another budget line say this is PQ, and as it touches the new equilibrium point, I find that there is a fall in demand, and this fall in demand from OX2 to OX3, this is known as the income effect. This part is known as the income effect. Okay, so let's see what is income effect. Income effect is OX2 minus OX3. So what is left here? X3, X2. This is your income effect. This is your income effect. Let's now talk about one more thing. What is that one more thing? See, one thing I want to tell you. What was of my price effect? My price effect was from OX1, I went to OX2. You can see here OX2, this much was the new demand, and OX1 was my previous demand, and when I minus OX2 and minus OX1, I got X1, X2, means this whole area, how do I show you this? This whole area was my price effect. This area was my price effect. Out of this area is my what effect? This area is my income effect. Now, what is left then? Only this area. This area means what? You can see here, there is E1 here. Okay, and here is E3. Corresponding to E1 and E3, you can see here the quantity demanded has reduced to Y0. Okay, there is a fall in the quantity demanded of Y. So, because of the fall in the quantity demanded of Y it has reduced because the price of X has fallen. This part is known as the substitution effect. So, the remaining part is known as this part. See, from here to here, we call it as a substitution effect. So, this is our substitution effect. So, let's write it here. So, our total income effect is OX, our original demand, the income has increased to OX2. From there, I will minus whatever was, we'll see what is my price effect. My price effect is X1, X2. My price effect is X1, X2. From this, I will minus my income effect X3, X2. So what is left is X1, X3, X1, X3. This is my substitution effect. So friends, I know that this is a bit challenging for you to understand, but if you go through this again, it will be useful. Even then, if you find it challenging, do write it in the inbox, comment box. I will of course respond to it. Maybe I will try to make it more simpler in another new video. So friends, just remember that our price effect is the change in the quantity demanded due to change in the price. It gives rise to two other subcomponents. One is the income effect, the other is the substitution effect. How to discover the income effect and the substitution effect? You have to first draw a budget line. Let me see if I can try to show you again very quickly. I will just try to show it again very quickly. Very quickly I will show you, because this is just the summary of what we have discussed. In a very nutshell, I will try to show you. So let's begin again. I'll draw it clearly this time. Okay, we have Y here, we have X here, and suppose we have a budget line like this. I call it as budget line B, B1, and suppose what? Suppose that I buy this much quantity of Y and this much quantity of X. This is Y1 and this is suppose X1, say. And this is my indifference curve. Remember what is indifference curve? In order to know, you have to watch one more video. But remember that this is a curve which shows that two commodities X and Y, and between all the combinations on this point, I am neutral. I can take any combination, this, but I cannot take all. I will take only this combination because that falls in my budget. Okay, so I am in point E1. But there is a fall in the price of X1. So being a rational consumer, when the price of X has fallen, I will go for buying more of X. So as I go for buying more of X, so my budget, means affordability, will rotate this side. Okay, and I go to B, B2. As I go to B2, so I move on to a new indifference curve. See, I can buy more of X, but I cannot buy more Y because Y price is unaffected. The price of Y has not changed, but the price of X has changed. So I will move here and I will draw another indifference curve. This is IC1 and this is IC2. And this is my new equilibrium point. I will draw a line down here and I can see that I have got a new quantity demanded, OX2. So see, because of the fall in price, quantity demanded of Y has not changed, but the quantity demanded of X has changed. So what is the change? What is the change? The change is the new quantity, OX2 minus the old quantity, OX1. This is known as my price effect. Why? Because of the price, this much is the change in the quantity. Now we have understood what is price effect, but I have to find out income and substitution effect. For that, what I will do? For that, I will do one thing, that we will follow the Hicks substitution effect, where we say that when the price of a commodity has decreased, it gives rise to the real income of an individual. Yes, why real income of the individual rises? Because I will have more surplus money in my hand. I have some extra money left, so my real purchasing power increases. I can purchase more. So Hicks says that let's keep the real income constant. In order to keep the real income constant, I have to rotate back this budget line. This budget line was here because I was happy, my real income increased. But now that real income has to be kept constant, so it will rotate back this side. So I will do one thing, I will make another indifference curve such that it touches the point of the original indifference curve. So I will make it touch this way. Okay, so since I am making a freehand curve, so it may not be so perfect. So done. Now you see, with this I am in equilibrium at this point. This is my E3. Now if I drop it down, so my new quantity demanded is X3. Now what has happened? Please observe very closely. I was here, but I shifted here. That means because you have taken away my extra money, my real income, that's why my equilibrium point has shifted from here to here. So there is a fall in the quantity by this much. Okay. So that means this is my price effect. So what is this effect is known as income effect. So my price effect is OX2 minus OX1. OX2 minus OX1 is my price effect, that is equal to X1, X2. This is my price effect. Now from this price effect, okay, from this price effect, if I minus, okay, OX2 minus OX3, OX2 minus OX3, I get what? OX2 minus OX3, I get X2, X3. This is known as the income effect, i.e. Okay, so I got the income effect. Now look here. As I come to this point, my quantity demanded of y1 has reduced to y0. So that means because x is cheaper, so y has been substituted, means demand for y has fallen. So how much is the fall in the demand in y? So the fall in the demand in y, because of fall in the demand in y, what is the change in this? The change in quantity demanded of x is this parallel line. Okay, this parallel line. So this parallel and horizontal line is known as your substitution effect. So what is your substitution effect? I can see what is the price effect first. X1, X2 minus, what is my income effect? X3, X2. So what is left here? X1, X3. This is known as your substitution effect. So this line plus this line, these two makes your price effect. So friends, this is how things are been considered in economics, that whenever there is a rise in fall in price, there will be some income effect and substitution effect. And that's all for this video. We will meet again in the next video. As we have already discussed what is a given good, in the next video we will understand what is an inferior good and what is a given good, and how things work, this income effect and substitution effect in case of a given or a normal good. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.